I
I got
start. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to the Service Lines Podcast. Good morning, Jason.
good to the last drop. Good
Absolutely.
morning, Mike.
I haven't even had my full cup yet.
It's not even Folgers. I don't even know what the brand is.
Hey, sometimes coffee's coffee. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
This is actually good. It's surprisingly good. I got this from the hotel that I stayed at Thursday night last week, and it's one of those little pod things. And so I grabbed it. I'm like, all right, this looks interesting. Usually I don't, drink the hotel coffee. It's usually pretty nasty. I'm like, all right, this looks decent. So I brought the pod home, popped it in this morning, and not too shabby. So
My
little
buddy
blip with
has
Mike.
been drinking some what do you call it? Mushroom coffee.
Mushroom coffee.
Yeah, it's supposed to be healthier for you and everything, but he says it's really gross.
Isaiah's into the mushroom coffee, and I'll pass. Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? If it's not made with coffee beans, it's not coffee.
I tell you, I've done the whole like Starbucks ground coffee thing, not paid for it. Austin's wife used to work at Starbucks, so she'd get bags of it like for free all the time. And so she gave me a couple bags of it. It's okay, not bad. I wouldn't pay $16 for a bag of that. That's me personally. I've done I've tried a bunch of different ones, but you know what is just the good old true and time tested coffee? Folgers. I'm telling you, it's been around forever. You get the big old red container for like $6 at Wally World, and you're set for a year or so. If you don't, if you drink a cup a day.
Yeah, and when you're done, you got a tub that you can put stuff in.
Exactly. Or make a donation bucket for those charitable things that you got to do.
There you go. Well, today we're talking about mindset and commitment, what's holding you back. And our theme this week is side hustle to full time. So I'll pray us in, and then you can go through the verse, and then we'll get into it.
All right, let me find it.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this morning. I want to thank you for all our listeners and watchers and everybody that continues to listen to us, and those in the future that'll find us. Pray for their business. I ask that you look over them, keep them safe, allow them to to seek you in their heart, Lord. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right.
Amen. And
what you got for us for a verse this morning?
Yeah, I won't go there. Getting ready to say something, but we've had too much going on in the political world this week to start stuff. So,
Amen to that.
Oh, what do we got today? Well, man, there's two really good verses picked out. I'm gonna go. I think 2 Timothy 1:7. Let's jump to that one. For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. A little bit different version on that one. So the reflection on this: fear will always be present, but faith, courage, and discipline must be stronger drivers than fear in your life. And I think that really goes well with what we're talking about today. What's holding you back? Is it fear? Is fear what's holding you back? Well, that verse right there tells us we should be not fearing, but let's push forward. So, we're talking about what's holding you back. I don't think this one's just about tactics. It's more about mindset, right? We're going to be talking, I think, a lot more about mindset.
We're definitely talking more about mindset today.
Yeah. Commitment, another big part of this. So I think some people may realize that they're not ready, and that's okay. And others are going to see that the only thing holding them back is really just yourself. I was, man, this really drums up a conversation. I had a conversation with somebody, and I forgot what the exact question was, but it was something along the lines of this question: what's holding you back? And I mean, I immediately, it was me. I said me. And without hesitation, without thinking about it, it was me. Like, what would keep you from moving forward? What's keeping you from holding back? What's keeping you from whatever it may be? Let's take a look at ourselves today. That's probably the biggest issue.
I mean, we're going to start with the mental shift, right? Because I mean, it's that mindset shift and mental shift it's hard. Like, have you ever done something or tried to do something and you just can't figure it out, and then all of a sudden something just snaps and clicks in your brain, and you're like, oh, I get it now, and you don't really know what triggered that.
Yeah.
I would love to know what triggers that in me. And because I would trigger that sucker all the time, give me that switch. I'm going to flip it on all the time. For whatever I'm doing. Right. But when you're trying to figure out whether you should go from a side hustle full time, it's not just about the money. It's about your identity. Your identity is a lot of it, right?
It's huge.
Security is a lot of it.
Yeah.
You're doing it as extra cash. Business owners think as if you're building an asset, right? Mm-hmm. That's how a true CEO should work. We talked about this in the past month. But until you make that mental shift, you're going to stay stuck.
Well, you're bringing up identity, and that's one thing I've really struggled with the last little over 2 years. For 25 years, I was known as Jason the electrician. That was my identity. And in 23, I tore my L5 disc in my back, and the doctor basically told me, listen, you're either going to have surgery, or you need to possibly look at a different change of pace and different career. And so I ended up coming on full time into my office help, and going from being an electrician, going out, serving people, being outside of these four walls every day, that was my identity. And to shift to sitting behind a desk, that was tough for an identity aspect of things. And it wasn't until probably just about 2 months ago that I started having kind of that mental shift. in my identity. In your identity, if you're a Christian, your identity shouldn't be rooted in the things of this world, right? Your identity should be I'm a believer, right? I'm that should be your identity. However, the way of the world, right? We get stuck in the identity of everything else. But the mental shift for me was being able to get back out. I joined a BNI group, and being able to get back out and talk with people and interact. I'm in the process of becoming an ambassador, so I get to travel around more to other chapters and visit. And I started going up to the St. Louis metro area a couple times a month to be able to visit other chapters and grow our business in that aspect, because we can have clients anywhere around the country. That has been such a huge shift for me, and not just identity wise, but just a mental shift, because when you're an extrovert like I am, I can't sit inside of an office for 8 hours a day. And as a business owner, it's not just 8 hours, but 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, or 7 days a week, whatever you want to say. So that's been a huge aspect for me on the identity. But I say that to say, don't root your identity in what you do, right? Yeah.
I had a serial entrepreneur that I knew years ago. This is back when I was in the body shop, and I left the body shop industry, and I traveled down to he was in Kansas City. I went down to Kansas City, and I'm checking out his new business, and we're talking about things, and it was right when I started moving in my web and marketing business.
Mm-hmm.
And he found it really interesting. He's much older than me, so I was seeking guidance and wisdom from somebody like that who had grown multiple millions of dollars worth of assets in all his businesses. And I remember sitting at lunch and talking about my struggles about this, and he just looked at me and he said, "Mike, there's life after the body shop." Now replace body shop with insert anything here. There's life after XX.
Yep.
And I've hung on to that because it was so true. It's your identity is you. It's not your job. It's not your role in a company, or a role in your own business, actually, or your business is not your identity.
Yep.
It helps form a part of your identity, but it shouldn't be your identity.
No.
Right. So that was just something that I thought I'd throw out there that I really clung to, and I really love it.
That's good.
So, hey, let's talk about commitment as a signal.
Yeah.
When you commit, you start making different decisions. When you go all in, you start looking at marketing different, professionalism different.
Mm-hmm.
You start reinvesting either time or money. And let's talk about time. You should be looking at your time differently. You only have X amount of time available during the day, and you have to start prioritizing that time rather than being told what to do throughout your day. Now that you're stepping up as an owner, you're figuring that out on your own.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's hard, but it's something you have to do, especially if you have a family.
Mm-hmm.
They see you when you're serious, or whether you're just dabbling in it. But when it comes down to it, commitment builds trust. People can tell the difference between a guy fixing appliances on the side or a legitimate company.
Yep.
And if you're only halfway, you're going to flounder. People notice this stuff. I had a client come to me, and he was kind of in that transition, and I'm not going to say who it is, but he had a full-time job working for somebody else. He's been doing it as a side hustle for a long time, started his own business as a side hustle.
Yeah.
Wasn't really a business. It was just side cash. And then he decided to go in let me try it. And I've been talking to this guy for a little over a year.
Yeah.
And he finally called me and he's like, "Hey, um, I'm ready to sign up with you." Right.
Mhm.
And thank God I told him, "You're not ready for what you're wanting to spend with me, and
Yeah.
do with me yet."
Hmm.
And um I said, you've only been doing it a couple months. There's some things that you need to work on, and we talked about mindset, foundations, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I was really happy for him. And then his wife has some health issues. He calls me actually yesterday, and tells me he's shutting down the business
Mm.
and going back to work for somebody. So, that's a different kind of situation,
Yeah.
but he really wasn't all that in. He was just in the very beginning of starting that transformation,
Yep.
but he just wasn't really transformed yet.
Married, got a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in our age range, nothing, he's been doing this 25 years.
Yep.
He's a very experienced guy, but that doesn't mean that you're ready to start and run and own your own business and operate it, right?
Yeah.
So there's some people should work for other people. Some
Yeah.
people should not own a business.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And you got to be blunt about it, and you got to ask yourself, am I fit for this?
Mm.
So it is a big commitment.
Yeah.
Um
I know that aspect with your family. And the reason I brought that up is I know in my own life when I've been kind of half-hearted commitment, even when moving over into this business, at the first of it in 23, was I 100% in this business? No, I can 100% say I wasn't fully committed to this business. I was still wanting to be Jason the electrician, right? And it wasn't until I really started being fully present in this business and being fully committed to this business, Shayna still saw me as uh, that half-hearted committed, and there was a lot more tension. There was less confidence. There was less security, trust in the people that I was trying to work with in this business. So you got to be fully committed. You have to be. And if you're in that financial aspect, I know we'll talk about that a little bit more, but the financial aspect of, is this a hobby or is this something that can actually support you and your family? And if it is something that you want to do full time, are you priced right? Because if you're not priced right, I'm telling you, I had a really good conversation, and we went out to eat dinner with an electrician in the St. Louis area and talked with him about our services. But one man shop, he's owned his own business for a couple years now, and he from the get go went fully committed. And one of his biggest aspirations of why was, his family. He wanted to be able to support his family. He wanted to be able to get out of debt. And here, 2 years later, he's completely out of debt. He was able to pay cash for a new house that they built. And it's just like, man, that's like the freaking great story right there, right? Being able to. And I asked, so what is that? He goes, it's the pricing, man. The pricing has been one of the biggest battles, making sure that I was priced right to be able to support all of this and live the life comfortably. I see we're not rich. He goes, but we live comfortably and we're out of debt. And I'm like, man, that's kudos to you. That's awesome, right? You don't hear that story too often.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I struggle when I hear stories like this. I kind of struggle with the idea of, could he have done the same thing working for someone else?
Yeah.
If he put the same effort in while he's working for someone else, right?
Maybe.
A lot of times we put our energy into our own business,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot of energy and a lot of work.
Yep.
And sometimes we break even, sometimes we just have that struggle bus just chugging along.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we do great. But and sometimes, most of us, there's times where there's a myriad of ups and downs with both of those, right?
Yeah.
Different seasons. But if you work for someone else currently and you're thinking about starting your own business, why don't you try and put that type of energy into your existing
Mm.
employer's business
Yeah.
and see what changes you can make there,
Yeah.
and see what those results are and test it there, right? Because if you can't make it work there, you're
Yeah.
not going to make it work on your own.
Yeah.
And that, for techs out there, that's just my best advice.
Well, and I will say, being a business owner, like you said earlier, it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's for some people and not everybody. I will say, being a business owner, I wouldn't, I've tried working for other people and it just didn't work out. Um, the freedom that we've had growing our boys up, we homeschooled our boys quite a bit, and then we put them into public school, and we tried private school as well, Christian school. But homeschooling, we was able to do more with them. We did a lot with the scouts. We vacation in the off season to save money, and we was able to take some incredible trips, and we've got lots of great memories because we were business owners. If I would have been working for somebody else, 1, maybe 2 weeks a year, we'd be able to take off and be weekend warriors, if possible. So the freedom of it is a whole different aspect. But just because you can doesn't mean that you should.
I use that term all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Skilled at your craft does not equal readiness for business ownership. Yeah. Like Mike said, if you're in a job and you're making decent money, what can you do to better that situation? Right. If you're wanting more time off, well, go to your business owner, whoever your boss is, and be like, listen, I would like to have some more time off to spend with my family. What do I need to do to make that happen? Right. If you're a technician, I know I have some people that listen to this that work in factories, totally different situation. I would still do the same thing. Hey, I'd like to be able to take 2 weeks to a month off a year. What do I need to do to make that happen? It's either going to be that ain't going to happen here. You need to find another job, or like if you're a technician or manager or something working for a trades company, I there's got to be a way, right? As hard as we work in the trades, there's got to be a way. I want to be able to take a month off, not all at once, but maybe throughout the year. I would like to have 30 days of paid vacation to spend with my family to make memories. What is that conversation going to be with the person that you work for?
I mean, me personally, as a business owner, and I'm looking at this situation, if I had an employee that came to me in this situation,
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely say you've got to get your ticket, average ticket up.
Yep.
Um, you gotta have less walks.
Well, it
You
comes down
know,
to simple math. As a
yeah,
business owner, if you have a technician that comes to you and talks to you about this, you got to look at the entire whole. Out of 12 months out of the year, this is what you should be bringing in as a technician. Let's just say for easy math, it's 120,000. That's super stupid low, but it's 10,000 a month, right? Easy math. If you want it to be 100,000 a month, great. You do the math, but for easy math, so he needs to be bringing in 12,000 a month. If he wants to not have a month and he wants that vacation time, just readjust the math and say, this is your goal for the year. You hit
yeah.
this, plus we can talk
It's
about
all
that.
about those KPIs,
Yeah.
right? More first time completes.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things that you can look at your KPIs and track and say, you improve on every one of these points,
Yeah.
you got that month off every year, and we'll have no problem paying you because now we'd be able to afford that. And that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a trade-off in everything you do, right? Even if you owned your own business, you would have to do those things to be able to afford that time off.
Yeah.
And even as a business owner, you may not even be able to afford that time off because you're the business owner and maybe you're stuck at a one-man show and you have no one to run those calls while you're gone.
Yeah. We kind of skipped a major point, and I want to make sure we hit that because we kind of hit it in the verse, but fear versus faith, courage and action. Fear whispers, Stay safe. Don't risk your steady paycheck. Don't upset the routine. But faith answers, step into the calling God has placed on you with deliberate, disciplined action. So courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite fear. Knowing the risk is real, but trust in your preparation, your skill, and your faith, whole different level.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, I I think that's great because it's you have to have a calling
Yeah.
to do that. And I think if you just want to do it without that calling because you're seeing someone else do it successfully,
Yeah.
it does not mean that you're going to do it successfully just because you decide to start something.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of things you need to ask yourself. Are you ready for the responsibility of payroll, scheduling, customer complaints, and dealing with that whole long-term strategy, right? And
The personal sacrifice.
yeah, it's okay to say no. A highly skilled tech working for a strong company can have a very fulfilling, lucrative career without the weight of ownership.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about a lot about the tax and an employee aspect of things in the beginning here because we have to speak to both sides.
Yeah.
Both the ownership and the tech. Some of you are on the fence, some of you are, dabbling in the side hustle stuff right now and not really knowing what to do. So hopefully this brings a little clarity.
Well, the danger in
in
all
that.
this is forcing ownership, right? Forcing yourself to become an owner because it seems appealing, not because it aligns with your strengths or maybe even the season of your life. Uh, my core as an electrician, I loved helping people make their homes safer and more comfortable. That was a huge strength of mine. I mainly focused on residential service and repair work because I felt like I had been trained, I had done well, and I felt like God had given me a gift to be able to go into somebody's house and fix stuff when other electricians couldn't in homes. It's like I don't want to say I had x-ray vision, but I did enough in new construction that I can go inside and I felt like I could see how these wires were being ran inside these walls. And mobile homes, modular homes, trailers, whatever you want to call them, that's something that so many electricians around here did not want to touch. But I was able to go into those homes because I understood them. I went to a factory and actually did a tour of how they did manufactured homes, how they built them, how they wired them. And I understood that. So I could take that into my career and be the guy that everybody would call to work on trailers. And I had other electricians that would do that. Now, that wasn't my identity. That was a strength, right? And then when you get to your core purpose, what's your core purpose that you're doing this for? In 2009, you guys have heard my story a little bit, but the short version of is I had to reevaluate my core purpose in life, and it came down to this: love God, love others, period. And from that, I was able to go in a lot of different homes, different religions, different races, different creeds, whatever you want to call it. And because God had said, hey, make sure you show them my love while you're there. And it could be in just a simple gesture of, hey, how you doing? Being nice. Or sometimes God would say, hey, before you leave, you need to ask them if you can pray with them. You gotta be bold when it comes to that stuff. Let me tell you, because there's been some situations that was like, seriously, now. But what's your core purpose? That's the point of all this. What's your core purpose of why you're wanting to do what you're wanting to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So once you figure all that out, how do you know when you're ready versus when you're not ready?
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
When your bank account's empty, you're like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and start my own gig, make
Well,
millions.
let's focus on the signs that you're not ready first. And if you got no concrete plan beyond that, I'll figure it out. You're probably not ready. This sounds like a Jeff Foxworthy part of the episode. Signs you're not ready to start a business. No concrete plan before I'll figure it out. Oh, living
Well,
paycheck to paycheck with no margin, like you said, casual approach to customers. You got no follow-up, no structure. Tell you, one of the worst things that you can do is go into a customer's house, give them an estimate, they say no, and you say, okay, thanks, and you go out the door, and that's it. Like, you got to learn to do, and I hate the word sales, it's a dirty word for so many, but you got to learn how to understand people and understand what they truly need, because there's so many times I would go into somebody's house and I knew, and I felt like I cared about their house more than they did. And so that comes down to a simple fact of learning how to talk with them and help them understand why it's important that they fix things. You know, for me, it was, if I saw a potential fire hazard, right? How do I bring that to attention to them without scaring the crap out of them, right? Well, for one, I never used the word fire. To me, that was the 4-letter F word that I didn't use as an electrician. So you find other ways to talk to them. Another sign you're not ready: lack of self-discipline. If you struggle now, full-time going into it, that's just going to magnify it, and it's going to make it worse. What's some signs that you are ready, Mike?
Well, if you're consistently getting your side hustle going and the jobs are flowing in without any marketing, that could be a good thing.
Yeah.
A good sign. You're able to put aside savings and have that financial cushion that you need, like a 6-month, reserve would be a really good target to shoot for. And your family supports it.
Yep.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. You have to have family buy-in. Your family has to support it. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of conflict at home, right? Yeah. So those are the basics, right? When it comes to the house part, you're busy, you're doing it. It's taking you away from your family more and more. And your family's like, yeah, you should do this. You'd be really great at it. And we've got the money in the bank. We feel this is a good transition time. But not just that. You've got to have some systems in place ahead of time.
Like what?
And like answering calls.
Holy
scheduling.
Cow. I know somebody that can do that. I
know
somebody can do that too.
A CRM.
Oh my gosh.
You got your pricing really figured out. Are you doing, Blue Book flat rate? Do you have that structure and that foundation in place? Do you have your parts account set up with the parts warehouses? And are you getting good discounts? So
yeah,
those are things that you all have to have in place before you even go in and say, yeah, I'm gonna start something.
Yep.
And get an LLC and really go into this.
Yeah.
That's just a few points that I wanted to cover.
I think rolling it back around as we get ready to conclude today, defining that why beyond money, that clarity of purpose is a non-negotiable. You have to do that, right? You'd always set a date or a revenue milestone for that transition. So if you say, hey, and if I get that 6 months of my oh crap buffer, then that's when I'm gonna start, right? That's without a target, it's just hope. So, and you can start building the systems now. So like the electrician we were talking about, 2 years he's been with just pen and paper. And it's like, man, if I would have just talked to you guys 2 years ago, how much further along would I be? So I love the business startups for our business, My Office Help. And whether that's just the AI helping you with that, and then with the automation that we can help you out with, starting small like that, or even go full blown with the live support. We love to grow with businesses, and we've grown with so many businesses. Having those mentors around. Service Alliance Group has got tons of stuff to help you out with your pricing, with your SOPs, to get you started, get you going, right? But it's not just the business aspects. Surround yourself with mentors, peers, accountability partners. You don't have to try to figure this out alone. That's 100%.
Not at all. There's a lot of help. There's, our
tons
Facebook groups. You don't want to go this alone. I've tried. Trust me, you don't.
Yeah.
I had that pride 21 years ago this month. Wow. When I decided to start my business, I had that pride. I don't need anybody's help. I can figure out all this on my own.
Yeah.
Guess what? 20 years later, I'm still learning, and the only difference between then and now is I have a lot of mentors. I ask for help. I feel like I know a lot and I can help others, but there's always someone else that you could learn from who's gone where you want to go, and they've gone before you.
Yeah.
And you could learn from their mistakes instead of your own. Yeah. And I can tell you right now, that is the cheapest way to learn.
Yeah. So
from other people's mistakes.
I think concluding all this, it's, as we circle back around, it is a shift in your identity. It's a shift in your mindset. It's a big shift in your commitment. So the question is, are you ready to own your path, or are you still dabbling? Is being a business owner truly right for your life and season, or should you stay a technician with somebody else? Which is the better path for you in your life at this moment, right? God gives us power. He gives us love. He gives us self-control. So step boldly if called, or excel where you are. Both are very honorable, but clarity matters in that.
Yeah. So I just want to close with the statement, even if you're a business owner now and it's not working out, it is okay to go back to work for someone else. It is totally okay.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in that. So I'm not telling technicians that you should start a business, and I'm not telling struggling big business owners that they should go to work for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But that decision has to be yours. But you need to be honest with yourself.
Yep.
Because the reality could make or break the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And either one of those decisions could be the right decision for you, depending on your situation and who you are and where you're at in life, what phase of life you're in. So pray about it.
Like,
what's that?
Well, I was just thinking of something else, but yeah. So looks like there's a mastermind coming up this weekend.
There is. Saturday, we're talking about expanding your service area the right way.
Gotcha.
If you're in the position to grow your business and you're looking to expand, I'm going to be going pretty deep on how to do it the right way, because most people don't know how to do it the right way. And they make a lot of mistakes. So
yeah,
I'm going to teach everyone, all of our mastermind members, how to do this the right way, in what phases and steps and all the processes that you need to go through to make sure that when you do it, you're prepared and it's all set up correctly.
Cool.
So that's going to be a fun one. And we'll be at PSA next week.
We will be at PSA next week too.
And, I don't think that Jason and I are going to get up at 5 a.m. on Tuesday. We may not. I don't know. But there's a 2-hour time difference there. So it's going to be 5 a.m.
What's going on at 5 a.m.?
5 a.m. Tuesday morning would be our time for the grind.
Oh, that's right.
While we're out there. So we got to figure that out. So.
Oh, crap. Yeah, I just thought about that.
Yeah. So
good thing we're not flying out
later in the day, but I'm not sure. We got to figure all that out.
We're flying in Monday. And so, well, anyway, hey, if you enjoyed something today, be sure to pay the fee, which is simply go like, subscribe, share Service Alliance Group, Appliance Marketing Pros, or My Office Help. This is my QR code here to my business card. So if you'd like to reach out to me directly, scan that QR code and let's connect. Be it you just want to talk business, you need a prayer, anything, just reach out to me. Okay.
All right. Talk to you guys next week.
Make it a great day.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for tuning in to the Morning Grind podcast by Service Alliance Group. Subscribe to our channel and make sure you visit our website at servicealliancegroup.com for appliance repair business resources.